Choosing the right squad, the right tactics, analyzing the opponent, all of this is the manager's job. Ultimately, he decides the final result of the game and the team's philosophy as well. Coaches usually tend to use popular tactics and schemes and aren't trying to think of something new. However, there are a few whose names are now forever in the football theory books. This is top 10 most innovative football coaches. Let's go. 10th place, Otoriago. The European Cup 2004, hosted by Portugal, will stay in the memories of the football fans not just because of the welcoming hosts and the great stadiums, but mostly because of the tactically flawless Greek national team, the underdogs of that tournament led by the German coach Otoriago. In that tournament, the Greeks showed very defensive football, which still gave them the result they needed, a win with 1 or 2 goals. A lot of fans were unhappy with the boring way of playing, calling it anti-football promotion, but the victory in the Euro final against the host nation not only showed the relevance of such style of play, but also put Otto in the ranks of the most innovative coaches. 9th, Valery Lobanovsky. Dynamo Kiev in the late 90s was a strong team even for the big European clubs, and the Champions League semi-finals will forever stay in the memories of the Dynamo fans. Bright football and a will to win every single game really helped Lobanovsky's team to always achieve the highest results. Under his rule, the UAE national team ended up 4th in the Asian Cup, and 2 years later the national team of Kuwait took the Asian Games bronze medals for the first time in their history. His philosophy allowed his team to fully realize their potential and the young players to grow and progress very quickly. Shevchenko, Belkevich and Kaladze can prove that. 8th place, Brian Clough. Not many will now remember a small British club that ended up 17th last season in Championship. Of course, we're talking about Nottingham Forest and 18 years under Brian Clough's rule. A former footballer, an eccentric Brit decided to start his managing career at 30 years old by undertaking a job at a professional football club. So in 1975, Clough decided to take up on a new challenge and become a new head coach for the Reds. Having built a team around the key players and the importance of set pieces, 4 years later Nottingham put all Europe in shock by winning 2 Champions Cup in a row, as well as winning the gold medals of the UEFA Super Cup. 7th place is taken by Vittorio Pozzo, an absolute record maker within the national team's coaches. In the 1930s he managed to lead Italy to 2 World Cup victories in a row, and this incredible result didn't just come from the great players or a charismatic coach they had, but the most unique tactical scheme for that time, the pyramid, made it happen. In that formation, the team plays in a complex scheme with 2 full-backs and 3 attacking players, 2 wingers and a central forward. This creation of his, the pyramid, became so successful that it brought the Italians 2 successful World Cups, and in 80 years' time the pyramid was used by Josep Guardiola when he was managing Barcelona. 6th place, a famous Soviet coach, Eduard Malofeev, who changed over 20 teams over the course of his career. It was Malofeev who actually started the rise of Belarusian football when he became one of the first coaches to start paying attention to his players' motivation. Instead of printing the performance scores, game schemes and tactical analysis, he used emotional speeches and famous poetry as well as his own writing. Malofeev asked for 100% commitment, and his favorite saying was, "Play with your heart and your soul." 5th place, Fabio Capello and Marcelo Lippi. Milan in the times of Fabio Capello wasn't only dangerous in Italy but in whole Europe. Having worked for a long time with Arrigo Sacchi, Don Fabio took all the best qualities from the former Rossoneri coach and started his work with completely rebuilding the team. By combining the traditional Italian defensive football and attacking diversity, he managed to win 4 national championships, 3 Super Cups, a Champions League Cup and a UEFA Super Cup. We should also remember another Italian legend, Marcelo Lippi, who was also promoting a similar style of football. He became a champion of Italy with Juventus not once, he won the main European trophy, and in 2006 helped the national team to win the World Cup for the 4th time in their history. 4th spot, Herbert Chapman. Arsenal London really owes its first big success to Mr. Chapman. In 1925 he undertook a job at the club with not a big reputation globally. His first decision as a head coach was to sign a few high-class attacking players, as well as switching to a new unique schemes with 3 defenders, 2 defensive midfielders and 5 forwards. The W formation became a first innovative tactical scheme in England. It both saved the trends of English football and brought something new to the tactics that were untouched for years. In the season 1930-1931, Arsenal became the champion of England for the very first time in their history. In total, Chapman won all of the 10 first Arsenal trophies. Third place, Helenio Herrera. Catenaccio is a name for the whole era in football where the main power in Europe were the Italian teams, particularly Inter with Herrera as a head coach. In 1960, this incredible Italian coach in 8 years managed to turn Inter into a European top club by using an innovative style of play, with the main philosophy being the ball possession, tactically correct link-up play and great defensive football. This style of football was flawless for that time and even became popular in England, but the Herrera's biggest success was in international football in the World Cup in '82, where Italy outplayed the famous Brazilians in the final. Now just a few teams still play this type of football, Catenaccio, but for some reason this style of play is still closely associated with Italian football. Second place, Rinus Michels. An answer to this defensive football in the 1970s was found by Rinus Michels and was called total football. The Dutchman came up with a completely new innovative tactics. From now on, a player on the pitch had to know how to do everything. Now in 40 years' time it doesn't seem that revolutionary, does it? The main feature of his style became the players' proactive movements within positions and their interplay while sustaining the same tactical scheme. Michels was paying high attention to his players' fitness levels as they had to move throughout the whole game. Under his rule, that legendary Ajax won the national championship 4 times, 3 times the national cup as well as winning the Champions Cup. Then Michels took a job as a national team head coach for Holland and reached the World Cup finals in 1974, where he was beaten by the Germans. First place, Josep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho. The main innovator in football of the last years has got to be Guardiola. Last year he conquered England and this year he's planning to do it again. City under his rule played great, very dynamic and aggressive. Tiki-taka football became popular because of this 47-year-old Spaniard. In Barcelona, Pep built his team around his midfielders and creative players, Messi, Iniesta and Xavi. Short passes and non-stop movement would exhaust any opponent. He proved on a club level as well as on international level when Spain won the World Cup for the first time in their history. Guardiola's main antagonist is Jose Mourinho of Portugal. His tactical scheme is clear and highly recognizable, but year after year he still delivers. A tall and physically strong forward in combination with fast wings are a key of the success for the special one, which led Porto and Inter to the Champions League victory.